statement. We'll open it up to questions.
Okay, guys, thanks so much again for covering the Canes and for coming out today. Obviously, we have another undefeated opponent on the road in Georgia Tech, a team that's playing really well, coming off a bye week. And I think we all know the challenges that Georgia Tech presents us. 36 points a game on offense, about 32 minutes a game with their time of possession, 300 yards a game rushing, and they're really good on third down. Justin Thomas, their quarterback's playing really well right now, over 100 yards a game. You know, they have a deep threat in Smelter, who's got 100 yards a game. Lasky's it seems like he's been around forever, playing really well. And they have 4 players with over 6 yards a carry. So excellent, excellent team. Penalties are down for them. Time of possession up. Turnover ratio up. 6 interceptions on defense. And I really like the 2 inside guys that they have on defense. Gotzitz and Green, 96 and 97. Of course, Neely makes it go in the middle, and it seems like the secondary's been around for a while in terms of Golden and Johnson and those guys. So, and an excellent kicking game on top of it. So, again, really good team, all 3 phases. A lot of challenges schematically, and we have to work overtime here in the next 48 hours to get going. Any questions?
Coach, are you surprised at this point at how quickly Kaya appeared to progress from a mental standpoint?
I'm surprised, you know, from, I would say, the standpoint of, you know, May, June, and July. But after watching him in August, no, we're not surprised, and that's obviously what led to our decision, what we saw from him internally. But pleased with his progress. The fact that he protected the football last week is going to be critical in this game, and he accepted a lot of coaching last week. He really did. So he did what he had to do, you know, for us to win. We left a couple plays out there, him included, and hopefully he'll continue to make progress, and stay humble, and stay hungry, and stay focused.
There's always a talk about stop and triple option, but how do you deal with their blocking techniques, the cut blocking?
Yeah, I mean, they're very good at it. They're good at what they do. You try to practice it, try to simulate it. You know, we have to have guys keep their feet. If you don't keep your feet, you can't tackle. So again, it's going to be a challenge for us. There's no question about it. The speed of the game, you know, being able to recognize which play that we're seeing and which formation, all of that is going to be important, and certainly for you know, for our team to keep their feet is going to be critical.
Is there a danger of what guys getting caught unawares watching so much over here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's, you know, that's really the theory of their offense. So you got to get your eyes to the cut blocker for just a split second, defend yourself, keep your feet, and then, you know, return to the ball carrier. So that in itself is a little bit unique. So again, that's the challenge of playing Georgia Tech.
Do we have an update on the linemen on the
Yeah, just that. Right now we're moving forward without Taylor and KC. Trevor Darling, Gall was better today, so he has an outside chance. But Trevor Darling, Linder, Wells, and Sonny Adagu, you know, those are our 9. You know, 9 guys right now, rotating in. A little bit of Joe Brown, but really those are the guys that we're getting ready to go in the game. So we've already moved on in terms of practice and everything, and as we get information from, you know, the medical staff and everything, we'll update that.
You don't have an idea yet how long they'll be without this?
I don't. No.
Also, does Johnson, how's his right ankle? And,
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. A little, we're just protecting it right now, but I think he'll be good to go by tomorrow.
Well, do you think maybe Yearby might get more touches this game?
I don't know. Joe did a great job last week, and certainly warrants consideration for more, but I think it's going to depend on Duke. And then, you know, it's going to be those 3, just as it has been, Gus, Duke, and Joe.
Yeah, Mark's been really good at defending this offense, going all the way back to when you guys were at Temple. What's been the key to that?
I don't know. I mean, obviously facing it all the time, number 1. We faced it every year, Gary. But you know, you got to make a lot of things happen. I mean, you need tackles for loss. You need some takeaways. You know, I think he works hard at it and believes in what we're doing. He also knows that we're going to see some things this week that we didn't see or have not seen from them, given the time off in the preparation and where it is in the season. It's early in the season, so they probably worked on it in the preseason a little bit, and plus the bye week. So that right there, we're going to have to be ready to improvise and adjust, Gary. And we had some situations last year where we made some adjustments at halftime as well. So we're going to have to be ready to go.
Yeah, that was actually my next question.
Okay.
They've obviously, after, being unsuccessful the past several years against you guys, probably have been spending a lot of time in the offseason trying to figure out what they can do differently. Within the confines of what they do offensively, what can they do differently?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of different things. Yeah, I don't want to get into that, but what I will say to you is that we've been fortunate because to beat them, you have to play well in all three phases. I don't think you can just play well in one phase. So, you have to score at the same time. You got to get a fourth down stop at the same time. You got to get takeaways. So it's we've been fortunate from that standpoint, and we got to continue to make good fortune by executing, keeping our feet, tackling well. This is going to be a great challenge, Gary, given them coming off the bye week and being on the road. And we're going to have to be ready for it all. We're going to have to tackle well. We can't adjust, Gary, on the fly if we're not tackling well, if we're not playing the defense that we called well. You know what I mean? So for us to be able to adjust, we have to be executing and tackling on the previous play.
In the return game, is there anything else you can do from a strategy coaching perspective, or is it just about getting the guys that you have, they're talented, and just getting them to produce in that area?
We're working on it very hard, Matt. We have to coach it better. We have to execute it better. We have to give them a little bit more room to run, and then the returners have to hit it. So I would say all four of those things are in play right now this week.
Staying on that, is Treon Gray getting some practice time with kickoff returns and punt returns?
He is not. He is not.
And how is he progressing?
He's doing great. Yeah, he's doing great. He's going to be. He's continuing to make progress. With special teams, I think his conditioning is starting to really improve, and he's starting to get into a little bit of a groove. So we just got to keep pushing him along.
How many changes? I mean, in terms of maybe getting Artie Burns more returns and he's backing up Stacy.
Yeah, we're thinking about all that, Manny. To be honest with you, again, I got to coach it better. We got to execute it better. We got to hit it better. We got to give them more room. I mean, part of that is the coaching part of it. I got to make sure that we give all the right guys an opportunity to do it.
How gratifying has it been, to have Vogel do so well in light of
Yeah.
such a great comment? He got a pretty good one.
No, he's Vogel has worked very hard. He's very poised. It hasn't all been perfect, but he's always answered. Even when he has had a punt that maybe isn't as good as he wants it to be, he's always answered. So from that standpoint, he's given us a little mental toughness that maybe I didn't know about him in the beginning. So that's great to see. And him and Badgley are going to fight it out for the kickoffs this week. We got to get more production from our kickoff. I thought our coverage was better. Maybe our coverage was the best it's been last week. We just got to get more hang and more depth on our kicks.
How about Gudis? Is there any updates?
Again, guys, Gudis, he's making progress, but he got, he was really behind when he was out medically, so we got to, get him caught up. He's still in the rehab phase right now.
You previously mentioned Kaya, Yerby, and even Braxton. What can you say, I guess, tributes to these young guys being able to make an impact so early?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I think our recruiting was good last year. I do. I mean, Chad and A.J. Moten and Darian Owens, Cortell Jenkins, Calvin, all those guys are playing for us. Casey McDermott, Trevor, Nick Linder, Herndon, all of those guys. Joe Yerby, you mentioned Treon Gray. I mean, so we're playing a lot of guys, and I think we talked about it in here back in August that if a lot of freshmen end up playing, it's because they're good and because they have a chance to make us better, and I think those guys are going to make us better. But each instance is different. So I just think a lot of those guys are competitors. They want to play. They want to make a difference. And guys like Joe and Brad and Brax that you mentioned on that side, Darian Owens, A.J. Moten, all those guys have continued to improve. So we got to get all the other guys to improve as well. Just keep pushing them forward.
Do you see it as, I guess, maybe make sure the high school culture now where, they're playing for these top programs and maybe part of their personalities and their...
I hope so. I mean, that's why we recruit those programs, and obviously if you can get winners and leaders, that's a big deal. If you can recruit winners and leaders and have that in your locker room, I think that makes a difference. Certainly Brad is, Brax is, I think Darian Owens is. Chad Thomas, I mentioned before in here, there's no question that he is. Gayot, guys like that. So winners and leaders, that's important. And but I don't think there's any question. A lot of those guys come from really good programs.
I know you touched on him on Saturday. Yerby, just his performance, how big is a game like that for a kid that went through the injury that he went through, just to be able to have a game like that so early in his career, and how can you build on that?
Well, I think he will build on it. He's gotten better every week, and he made, the long pass he made because he finished the play. So that tells you a little something about his practice habits. And really how hard Duke is pushing him in practice. And I think with Joe, he runs very good tracks as a running back, as a zone runner, and he's able to stay in there in the same track as the old lineman, and then split it. And so Joe is continuing to get better. His conditioning is really good. We got to continue to get him stronger and gain weight, but I'm really excited about Joe right now.
You mentioned tackling. Obviously, the tackling had to improve, but how did you see the improvement, and what's the key to, I guess, getting that kind of effort again?
Yeah, we were tackling good. We did not tackle well against Nebraska. Number one, give them credit. Number two, we have to take accountability for what we didn't do well, and so we're going to continue to work on it. And we got to do whatever we got to do this week to make sure we're tackling these guys, quarterback, pitch, and dive. So each of them pose a unique threat, especially the perimeter when they are cutting you. So we're going to continue to work our tackling, make sure we don't get lazy with our footwork, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge every week. It's going to be a challenge this week for sure.
How's Tyreek before? Last year's kind of just a third down guy for you, and now he's out there almost every play. Just the growth you've seen too.
That was his best game, I thought, last week. I really did. I think very mature game. And it's not easy to play defensive end against these teams. Your whole life as a defensive end, you run up the field as hard as you can. And now you play these read option teams, and you run up the field, and the quarterback pulls it, and he's going for 20. So you really have to be disciplined. You got to be able to pin the hip, stay square, play the quarterback or the dive, whatever we're asking him to play, and then get in the alley after that. And then there's certain downs where he's got to go rush the quarterback. So I thought it was his most disciplined game, Manny. I thought he prepared better last week than he ever has. I think his strength is up. His conditioning is probably the best it's been in his career, and he played well. Now we got to go to Atlanta and do the same thing, except we're adding a pitch element. So we all have to be locked in. We really do.
More questions?
I just want to know how valuable it is to your team that Kaya spreads the ball around so much, not just to receivers.
Yeah, it is. It's important. It's something I've always talked about. Distribution of the football. It makes it hard for you to defend. And right now he's distributing it really well. The ball's not sticking, to one particular guy. It's not just an explosive route, for instance, or Clive underneath. There's a lot of different people touching the ball in a lot of different areas of the field. So one, he's really going through his progression, and we're protecting him better. And that's going to be a challenge this week versus the zone pressures that we'll see. And these two inside guys. I mean, these two inside guys are really good. So we're going to have to hold up there, protect him, let him go through his progression, and continue to distribute the football. But a lot of guys are touching the ball right now, which is great. Manny had one other.
Yeah, just to follow up, you mentioned about Tyreek and how in high school, it was get upfield. And I was talking a lot to the defensive players. We use they kept using the word trust. You got to trust the system.
Yeah.
How difficult that was? You know, these guys play a certain style in high school where it's kind of kill the quarterback, kill
Yeah.
the ball, and now they got to stick to the gap. So how much of that is part of that process of getting them to?
Yeah, it is, but it's like that everywhere now, the way the game has evolved. You know, if you're just running up the field, you know, you're going to have 700 yards against you. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, the quarterback's just sitting there reading every play, and if you're up the field, you know, he's either going to give it or pull it based on what you do. So, again, their whole careers as defensive ends, it's been chase or get up the field. And when you're playing these read option teams, you can't just do that all the time. Sometimes you can, depending on rotation and who's outside of you. And then when we ask them to do that, they got to be able to do that. And that's the irony of it, you know. So that's why it's really important to trust. So when we tell you to chase, all right, and take the dive, you got to do that. When we tell you to pin the hip and play the cue, you got to be able to do that. When we tell you it's time to pin your ears back and get the quarterback, you got to be able to do it. And like Coach D says all the time, that's on me. So if I tell you to pin your ears back and they run a draw, that's on me. You know, if they stick a run in there or something like that. So I think the guys understand that now. But again, Manny, the test is going to be Saturday night now. Whether we trust or not right now, whether we're going to execute or not, we're going to go in there and watch the film right now. The challenge is going to continue to build over the next 4 days. And then we're going to have to be really poised and mature on game day. The experienced guys have to help the inexperienced guys out here in the next 4 days.
Last question.
One more. Okay, I want to ask about Bagley.
Yeah.
I know he's a freshman. Is this what you expect pretty much from a freshman, ups and downs? And
No.
Does he have enough better a ceiling? Or?
No, I expect him to kick it through the uprights, and I expect him to kick it to the goal line on kickoff.
Say about his progress, or is he making progress?
He is making progress. He is. He's got a really live leg, Susan. I mean, he's got an explosive leg. And, you know, unfortunately, he missed the one the other night, but that thing was good from 60. I mean, he bombed it. So we got to continue to work on his finite focus, picking a spot, blocking everything else out. And then we just got to let him relax a little bit on the kickoffs. He's thinking a little bit too much, maybe about placement. He's got to run through it and use it. But he's got a real live leg, and he's got confidence. You know, not arrogance. He's got confidence. He's not afraid to do it. So, Jersey Mike, he's going to be all right. Summit.
Thank you.
See you guys.